questions, and maybe we can have a little conversation. Yes, sir.
Just one time, I have one question. Essentially, this country is kind of founded by criminals who wanted to vote, you know, in a broad sense. And it bothers me, because I got violent crime. So I'm down here, and I like what you're saying. I can't vote for you. And it'll be a long time before I can. But the whole time, I'm supposed to pay my taxes and pay for you guys. You know, that's the whole thing, the taxation without representation. What steps can we take to do that? So I know they're taking steps to give non-violent people their vote rights back. But why am I less of a man? I did time right beside those people, but I'm less. I'm not, my mind ain't 2/3 of a guy. But I've changed everything I can the whole time I was in prison, you know, to come out so I would have to stay home playing and not go home. And, you know, I would like to be in a position as yourself where I could argue for stuff like this, but I couldn't even go in there and cast a vote. Why is there a discrepancy when I've served my time just as a non-violent man and served this time? What would be the argument that I don't hear from where your guys saying?
I think the irony is, I think you could take my place as a delegate, but you can't vote for yourself or for me. I think you can do that. You may not be able to be an attorney or president of the United States, but I think you can still be a delegate. I have to double check on that. And I think you're exactly right, and it's part of the conversation. But you know, so a lot of times the conversation begins with your story, which is a very important and powerful story, especially to you. But you know, there's many ways of being productive in society, many ways of casting. So I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but I think we do know where the reality is in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I completely agree with you. But what we do need to do is there are so many members of society who have the right to vote who are not casting their vote. And so what I encourage people to do is, you know, educate yourself. That doesn't stop you from doing so many other pieces of the civic process, which is you know, getting people together, rallying them around a variety of issues, organizing, contacting your legislators. This is very important. And in my opinion, if you're able to find somebody who probably wasn't going to vote, educate them and convince them to vote, it's almost like you casting a vote, because the degree of apathy is so high. You know, so I was elected in a primary and then in a general, right? So I won this Democratic primary, and the total votes cast in the Democratic primary was something like 2,700 votes. This is the total. So 2,700 votes out of, in the district, we have 80,000 people, which is probably close to 45 to 50,000 voters. So if you do the quick math, that means that 3, 4, 5% of the registered voters ended up coming out. And that's how I won my primary. You know, there's 3, 4, 5% of the people actually coming out. And if that's the case, man, just imagine how powerful you can be if you can start to build allies and move blocks of 20, 30 people. I had 100, in my primary, I had 846 votes. In the general, I had 5,100 votes, but the primary was a very important part of my election. So can you imagine if I was able to find